A song back in the 80s, I was always reminiscing about me and Buddy, the way we grew up together in Lubbock and everything, about how we played baseball, and so I come up with this song, Looking for the Hidey-Ho. We actually played on top of the Hidey-Ho and got the Hidey-Ho started. But
now that would be the stud lot over there on North University.
Well, that's what a lot of them used to call it. That's where a lot of them always, you know, we'd always go there and you know, wait for the car hops to get off, because they just loved to watch the little prairie dogs out at McKenzie Park.
Oh, that's what they were looking at, right?
You bet. And so that was what I was thinking about when I wrote this song, you know. But it went all over the world, so it made me feel good that people are still buying it after 26 years. So
Looking for the Hidey-Ho.
And it's about Lubbock and everything in it. So
I've heard this before. It's a beautiful song.
Well, I'm still 17 in my 55 machine, looking for the Hidey-Ho. Me and old buddy was looking for fun, out where the young girls go, cruising in circles on a Saturday night, doing things that we love so, dragging the cats, chasing the chicks, and looking for the Hidey-Ho. Texas Tech was still a college, Buffalo Lake was a spring. The look that goes around our town within a small town dream. The fast 34th was a cotton field. Everyone was called Daddy-O. But me and old Bud is still 17, looking for the Hidey-Ho. Machine, cruising up to Prairie Dog Town. Then we called it a lover's lane, all windows steamed all around. Our school was called Old Lubbock High, home of the black and gold. But nobody knew it, but my friend Buddy was the king of rock and roll. Texas Tech was still a college, Buffalo Lake was a spring. The look that goes around this town is still messed up today. The fast 34th was a cotton field. Everyone was called Daddy-O. Me and old Bud is still 17, looking for the Hidey-Ho. I'm still 17 in my 55 machine, still believing Uncle Sam. We covered our hearts and we prayed at school, never thought of putting it down. And on the very spot where we played ball, it's that you stand so bold. But me and old Bud is still 17, looking for the Hidey-Ho. Yeah, me and old Bud is still 17, looking for the Hidey-Ho.
All right, Tinker.
What a great
Thank you.
Tinker, fantastic song. And
I appreciate it.
when did you first do that song?
Did what?
When did you first come out with that song?
It was back in about 1980 to 81. Larry Holly produced it for me. I wrote it about 10 years prior to that. But when you're broke and have no money, you got to get somebody. And finally, Larry Holly helped me with it, and he said, "Well, I've helped a lot of people, so we might as well." So I have to give him a lot of the credit for it.
And this is Buddy Holly's brother, is
That's
it not?
Buddy Holly's brother. But me and Buddy Holly goes way back, not just in guitar picking, but his dad and my dad was from a little town called Honey Grove, Texas, way back in East Texas. And back in the early, whenever they moved out here, my dad, and they helped build Texas Tech. Buddy Holly's dad was a carpenter, and mine was, a general flunky at that time. So he hauled the brick that every time I passed Tech now, I still see my dad, or heard what he was saying. I wasn't even around when it happened, but we go back that far.
Yeah.
And then Buddy lived over where he was born over on 6th Street, and I lived at 7th Street. So he lived right next door to E.J. Hollop, that famous
Sure enough.
football player. So we all was raised in the same neighborhood over there. And so we got out in the backyard and dug caves, and little Buddy would always come over there, and he was pretty tiny, and we was all big old dusty boys, but we become good friends way before music ever come into existence. And then when we first started playing, we started a band, him and Don Guest and Jack Neal and all of us. We called ourselves the Rhythm Playboys. And believe it or not, we had a hearse for a bandwagon at first.
That's a great way to carry all that equipment.
In case the music dies, you have transportation.
So basically, we were just like Jack Neal. He doesn't like to be called a cricket, but when anybody refers to Buddy Holly's band, they always say cricket. But we were when I say we were the original band. But Sonny Kazee always, when he's in the parade, he always said, "There's one of the original crickets," referring to. But I'm not wanting to, capitalize on anything that Joe B. and Jerry and Nicky Sullivan did. When Nicky joined Buddy, I took Nicky's place, and I learned how to paint signs. Both Matt Sullivan, his dad, that's what kept me, going for all these years. So we're all basically one big family.
Tinker.
And it was just fun.
And Matt, please jump in here. But what about one more song? And before you play another song, and we'll go into a break. And I wonder, whatever happened to Buddy's house, the childhood home?
Basically, everybody said they was moved out of East Town, but I was there the one day after the storm because we were out rescuing people. That's why I'm
May 11th of 70.
May the 11th of 1970. And his home was destroyed, same as my home place. And it was just all bulldozed over, and everybody said they moved it. But when that tornado hit, it knocks them.
But it is a lost legacy.
It's a lost legacy.
Yes.
But we got pictures, and I could rebuild it if they wanted me to.
Well, Tinker, we may have to do something like that. Buddy is truly, Lubbock is a place that's known for Buddy, yourself. I mean, we've got just an enormous wealth of musicians that have come through here.
That's what makes it so great. See, the Lubbock area, it was not just with Buddy Holly. It was the Maines brothers. Way before the real Maines brothers was friends of mine, and actually they contributed to a lot of Buddy's bringing. See, a kid by the name of Wayne Maine rode the school bus with Buddy, and he had his guitar, and he showed Buddy a few guitar licks. So it goes way back, and I've got the opportunity to live and watch all the kids grow up, and then there's more talent here in Lubbock than there are in all over the United States.
Well, one of the things they say about what's the difference between Austin and Lubbock. In West Texas and Lubbock, we don't have to import our
We produce it and they move,
from Austin, right?
That's a great point. And following up on what Matt said, before we go into another song, let me ask you this. What do we need to do to foster, to better harness and maybe amplify what, for whatever reason, maybe it's in the water, I don't know, we're producing an enormous, as you say, per capita wise, just
well, basically, just like I told Susan at the Buddy Holly, she's having a workshop there. It's people like her that has devoted about 20 some odd years of their time teaching.
Yeah.
The way we had to learn, we'd have to go up to these shows, and most of the big stars come back in, like Bill Carlisle and the Carlisles way back then. Ernest Tubb would come in, and we would just hound them. We'd get backstage and ask them, "How do you do this?" And those people back then, they just, see these kids struggling, they would be more than happy.
Yeah.
And they'd invite you to Nashville. Matter of fact, man, I went